Welcome back, everybody, to this auditorium. I hope you enjoyed the sessions that you joined over the past hour. Before we get back to the discussion, I would like to remind you that you can use the hashtag Digital Future Summit if you would like to share some of the ideas, the thoughts, the information that you have been getting out of those panel sessions. And I also would like to remind you that you can fill in your profile so that you can participate in these networking sessions that you can have yourselves by scrolling through all the many participants that we have today. Hundreds of you have joined this summit so far, and we thank you for being with us today here. Before we move into the next part of this conference, I would like to highlight some of the ideas that have come out of those sessions, because I'm sure that you couldn't join all of them, so we make sure that our team dig in and brought the best out of them. For the first panel session and the first room on disinformation, Brittany Cashier said, the main problem is that we don't have transparency on political advertisement. We need to know who is targeted and for what purpose. And as Simon Heglich said, micro-targeting is an expensive tool in political campaigns. Donald Trump, the former president of the US, spent over $68 million on his online campaign. That's a lot of money. And indeed, we need transparency about that. In the second panel, we were talking about protection of minors, right? And we had a very interesting intervention from Baroness Bevan, who said it's not about the well-being of the children, but the right of the children that we need to ensure online. The rights of the children are absolutely essential for the functioning of a society. And then from the third panel session, we had meaningful accountability. Nick said the emphasis should not be on the individuals, but on the lack of enforcement, and we're maybe at the start of the process. Thank you so much again for your participations on the panel and for staying here with us. Now, we have something a bit unusual for you next. We were planning this event and there was an email mix-up. A Facebook lobbyist on our email list accidentally connected us to the newly appointed incoming Chief Technology Officer of Facebook in the United States. And one of our staff thought it was so funny that this mistake had happened that we decided to go along with it. So we asked them to attend this meeting, but they did not tell him what this meeting is really about. Instead, we told him there was a meet and greet for him and a chance to meet all the lobbyists that Facebook works with. So here it is, the incoming CTO of Facebook, Reynard Donny. We have not turned his audio yet on because we don't want him to know that the audience is not exactly what he thinks it is. Can you please bring the audio now for our special guest so he can hear us in? Greetings, everyone from Facebook family here in Europe. We're very happy to have the new CTO of Facebook with us, Reynard Donny. Please, you have the floor. We're looking forward to hear from you.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation to meet and greet you all today. Even though I don't know why you aren't using our own Messenger Rooms platform. So to whoever organized this, next time, use the Messenger platform. But for me, it's a great honor to meet you. I consider all of you, our lobbyists, to be our frontline soldiers in the battle to keep our business not just alive, but thriving as it has. And especially those of you who are in Europe, which has been the hill upon which our freedom to do business has really tended to die in the past. There's a reason we spent 5.5 million euros on you last year. And of course, I'm sure you'll be happy to know that I expect to spend much more as we forge ahead. When I found out that I was tapped to replace outgoing CTO Mike Schrofer, I was pretty happy, as you can imagine, to be working at such a high level with this company, a company that has such a huge influence, not just on our products, but on the very ideas and billions of our users' heads, and thus on the course of history. Well, that's a huge honor. I should note here that previous reports that Andrew Bosworth, who, as you know, heads our AR and VR efforts, was taking over as the CTO, are skewed. Boz, as I'm sure many of you know him and call him as, will be taking on an entirely new position to be announced next week, a position focused entirely on building our metaverse, the shared and liminal spaces where the future is going to happen to you and I, whether we like it or not. It's great to have Boz's leadership in that new position while I concentrate on our core business, the unencumbered connection of all of our users, their eyeballs, their brains, and their bodies, to those who will pay, which are usually the advertisers, which of course brings me back to you and your important role. There are those who would prevent us from exercising our right to do business as we see fit, to curtail our freedoms. You are going to stop them. I want to engage with you because you are our stormtroopers, and behind your spears and shields, we all advance. If your efforts don't succeed, we don't succeed. We in the tech industry are under pressure, as you know, from global regulators, lawmakers, and civil society groups who have criticized us over alleged abuses on our platforms. Extremism, misinformation. They want us to change on a slew of issues, including transparency, content moderation, recommendation systems, approaches to user privacy, safety. In short, they want to infringe our freedom on just about everything, to prevent us from exercising our rights to do business as we see fit. Now, I know most of you on this call are in Europe, and Europe in particular has been a thorn in our side. As our frontline troops, it is your job to preserve our freedom. It is your job to make sure that the NGOs and the special interests in government do not succeed in limiting that freedom, in stealing our fire, in suffocating our best revenue streams. We're counting on you to be our champions, like the ancient gladiators of Europe, to fight to the death to prevent horrors that could befall our business model. Horrors such as a blanket ban on targeted ads, or limitations on the targeting of minors and banning the use of sensitive data. Those are important people. The minors are the most important people, as you know, because they become adults eventually. They're the ones who are spending. It's their eyeballs that we want to sell. We count on them. Demanding clear opt-ins like California did, we have to prevent that. And there are even worse things that could happen. What if Europe forced us to open the hood, to let regulators examine the engine that drives our machine, the algorithms? What if they go for complete transparency? What if we're forced to behave like a public utility, to rewrite algorithms so that they skew towards creating public good, rather than the division that works so well for getting attention, selling the eyeballs? These are the nightmare scenarios that we have to consider. What if entire countries decided to nationalize our industry because of how it impacts civil society? I know this is the stuff of nightmares, but we are the future. So we have to prepare for the future so that we cannot allow it to happen. You, the lobbyists, you are our only hope at stopping all of these nightmares, from the simplest restrictions on data collection to the doomsday device of nationalization. You are our freedom fighters, our future. We depend on you. I'm looking forward to meeting each and every one of you in MeetSpace. I am, you will find out, a very handsy and hands-on guy who'll be meeting you and touching each of you personally. But not right now. COVID means I have to appear virtually. Still, I look forward to pressing the flesh of you someday soon. It's a great honor to have you, our stormtroopers, serving us, securing freedom for our business model, and I reciprocally look forward to serving you. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If there's any time to ask questions, I'm available for a few minutes, but then of course I have to go on to the next thing, and I will make myself available to you, each and every one of you in the future. Thank you.
Mr. Dooney, I don't know how to say this, but this meeting is not really what you think it is. You have just disclosed all that information to members of the European Parliament, citizens, civil society organizations. This is actually a summit where we're talking about the future of the digital world. This is not Facebook. This is not, definitely not, the representatives from the different lobbies all across Europe.
I knew there was an issue when they said they weren't going to use Messenger for this.
You
Our
see, you
Messenger.
see? You
Okay, well, the
should
truth
have
of the
known.
matter is, I should have known, and there's no use in carrying on this charade. This is a bit of theater, a thought experiment. My name is actually Mike. I'm from a group called the Yes Men, and of course we're concerned with the same issues we have, and sometimes we like to exercise a brief mind experiment to imagine what it might be like to put ourselves in the shoes of those who would try to continue with the business models that are really messing up civil society. So thank you very much for playing this game with us for this last few minutes.
Thank you. It's
And
been
I
really a
hope you enjoy
pleasure.
the rest.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
Mike Bonanno, everyone. Thank you so much for your contribution. It's been really fun to have you with us, and definitely a completely different way of addressing issues that are absolutely key for these discussions that we're having today. So thank you so much for that contribution, Mike Bonanno, indeed. We're going to move now on into, we're going to take a break now because we're experiencing some technical problems, but we're going to be back to you very soon. So just stay posted, stay with us. We will get back to you in a minute.